So Golden Auctions recently auctioned off a Cheeto. Yes, a Cheeto, the thing that you eat, that was shaped in what looks like to be Charizard from the popular Pokemon series. And this particular Cheeto sold for close to $90,000. Now, I honestly really didn't want to do a video on this, but I kept getting messages. I kept getting people hunting me down on social media, even sending me messages through LinkedIn, asking me if I would consider talking about why this particular item sold for $90,000. So I did decide to poll my audience through YouTube, and a lot of you guys came back overwhelmingly that you wanted me to do a video on this talking point. So here we are having a discussion about a Cheeto shaped like Charizard that sold through Golden Auctions for close to $90,000. Now, to save time with this video, if you want to learn the backstory as to how this thing came to be and how it was eventually consigned to Golden Auctions, there is an excellent article here that I am going to put a link to in the video description below from artnet.com. Artnet.com did cover this story in depth, and for those unaware, Artnet.com is a trusted source for information surrounding art in the antiques and collectibles trade. A lot of times they also comment on collectible prices, antique prices, and the like. So this is an excellent in-depth article that I am going to link to so that you can get the backstory on how this Cheeto, shaped like a Pokemon, that just sold for $90,000 through Golden Auctions, became a thing. So I think that this is very fascinating that we have this discussion. I will tell you though, if we get in my DeLorean time machine and we go back to literally the origins of eBay, the origins of items being sold through online auctions, this is not an uncommon occurrence. Case in point, I don't know how many of you guys remember this. I was on eBay regularly back in the day. Well, back in 2004, a Florida woman auctioned off her 10-year-old grilled cheese sandwich that claimed to have the image of the Virgin Mary singed on it. Now, this was a phenomenon back in the day, and this particular item sold on eBay for $28,000. Remember, guys, this is back in 2004. Now, since that time, this has been an ongoing thing where somebody finds a Dorito or a potato chip that is shaped like something out of the ordinary, and it sells for a significant amount of money. Or I should say, appears to sell for a significant amount of money. You see where I'm going with this? There is no justifiable evidence that we have that shows that this transaction actually occurs. Meaning, a lot of these sales on eBay with the 10-year-old grilled cheese sandwich, with a lot of these other food-related objects that look like someone famous or something out of the extraordinary that sells for a significant amount, what we don't know is if the transaction actually takes place. The overall news media just loves these type of stories because they generate a lot of hype and they get a lot of clicks. And on the internet, in today's day and age, we know that clicks are attached to a revenue-generating algorithm, so that's all that matters. If it bleeds, it leads. Everybody wants to hear these hype-driven stories of how an average person found a potato chip that looks like Mickey Mouse, and it sold for like $100,000. In all actuality, these are uncommon occurrences. And more to the point, in most cases, we're not getting the true facts of the story after the transaction takes place, meaning after the sale goes off. Is money actually changing hands? Remember, for an item to be considered a true sale in any market, let alone the antiques and collectibles place, money has to change hands. Meaning the buyer not only has to bid on the item, but they also have to pay the going price. Now, in regards to Golden Auctions, when it comes to a trusted auction house like this, usually there are terms and conditions where if somebody's going to bid an item of this amount, they have to already commit to pretty much guarantee that they're going to buy it after the auction ends. That said, there are people that bid on items through Golden, through Heritage, through Hakes, through Morphe's, through Sotheby's, through Christie's, that end up winning the bid and they don't pay. Now, the auction company at that particular point has a right to take legal action against those individuals, meaning they can take them to court and they can forcibly put a lien against their assets or force them to buy that item, because bidding in a lot of these high-profile auction sites is a binding legal contract. So I don't know if the person that paid the $90,000 or close to $90,000 for this item is going to follow through with the transaction. I have to assume, though, that since this was sold through Golden Auctions, there is a chance here that it is going to happen. That said, make no mistake, this is not an investable product. And I'm sure a lot of you guys understand that. When we're talking about food products in particular, these items degrade, they spoil, they can be subject to mold, they can fall apart very easily. There really is no valid marketplace for these types of items in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. And I know that a lot of you are aware of that. I do have to put this video out there because there are some naive people on the internet that think that investing in these type of food products is a thing, or heaven forbid, they think they're going to be one of these individuals that finds a potato chip shaped like Pikachu and think it's their winning lottery ticket. In most cases, a lot of these items fail to sell for a substantial amount. That's why the news media is so quick to comment on these sales when they do sell for what appears to be a substantial amount. Now, another couple of things that I do want to address in this video. Number one, a lot of people are claiming that this is quote unquote money laundering. I'm sorry to tell you, most of your higher end auction companies are not involved in money laundering. It is too much of a risk. So even if a buyer and a seller got together and said, hey, we're going to conspire, we're going to consign this item to Golden Auctions, and because we have this money over here that we got to make legit, you're going to bid this item up to $90,000. It's too much of a risk, guys. Most of these high-profile auctions that take place in the antiques and collectibles trade, I don't know how many times I got to repeat this, are not the result of money laundering. You guys are completely incorrect with that assessment. Money laundering is more likely to take place on eBay than it is on heritage auctions or an item being sold through Christie's or Sotheby's or Golden Auctions. There's too much of a risk because you're directly involving a third party, the third party being the auction consignment company that has to take possession of the item and also process payment for that item. Whereas if it's sold through eBay, there really is no one that you're talking to on eBay's side of the equation. Meaning you're just listing an item, somebody's coming along, they're either clicking the buy it now or bidding on that item, and the money changes hands behind the scenes. That is much safer than going through a major auction company if you're laundering money. I just want to put that out there. Now, another thing that we have to address, a lot of people are comparing this sale to the sale of the artwork known as Comedian, which for those of you that don't recall, I did a video on this. That was the banana that was duct taped to the wall that sold for millions of dollars. You cannot compare this sale to Comedian, that installation that featured the banana taped to the wall, because that was done by a well-known artist and it came with a certificate of authenticity. The person that bought Comedian can resell that down the line, and in most cases, it probably will sell for more than what he paid for it. With this $90,000 Cheeto that's shaped like Charizard, you're looking for a very specific buyer. This is somebody that has, if this transaction really did take place, this is somebody that has a lot of money to burn. We're talking somebody with an ultra high net worth, probably anywhere near $50 million or more in most cases. And for the record, I do have a very few amount of clients that come to me, use my consulting services. Believe it or not, I charge them the same rates that I charge everybody else who do have net worths close to $100 million. And of course, we talk about artwork. We talk about items that the average person can't even afford. In this case, most likely, one of those individuals is probably who bought this item. It's just somebody that has an insane amount of money. He just wants this piece more as a joke, maybe to show off to his friends, a select few individuals, and say, hey, remember that Cheeto that was shaped like Charizard? I paid close to $90,000 for it, and there it sits. Again, guys, I just want to make this clear, and it bears repeating. Please do not attempt to invest in an item like this. Again, if you have $90,000 sitting, by all means, put it in an S&P 500 index fund or go after vintage PSA 10 graded Pokemon cards. I assure you, those two things are legitimate investments, not a Cheeto shaped like Charizard. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you do like my content, consider liking, subscribing to this channel, or even sharing this video. And just maybe, I may see you in another upcoming video.